And Shaady, is there anything we can read into here based on the way that these two teams have matched up previously?
Well, in the past, this series, with the way it's shaken out, looks as though it's going to be very, very close, and Slayer Aquarius could be the deciding factor Game 5. They've been very close in all 4 of the game types, with the exception of one King of the Hill Recharge, in which Online Warriors have 4-0'd them twice.
Wow.
So that is going to be a real outlier. Can NaVi improve? Can they get the victory on King of the Hill Recharge? That's going to be a real telltale sign for me, but I think this could go the distance.
It could go the distance. I know that last time NaVi did take that live fire Slayer in the elimination finals, and I also know that Phlux on the opposite side was really trying to utilize that sandbox, really rip it from NaVi's hands. So that's something to maybe note and take a look at as we get into the game there, especially in map number 2. But I have been told it is time for predictions. We're getting into this one fast, guys. Oh. So, Shaady, talk to me. What are you feeling?
Oh, no.
It's a hard one. It's a hard one, I know.
Game 5, I think NaVi. Game 5, NaVi, 3-2.
I think NaVi has the gas in the tank, but just for the purposes of entertainment and enjoyment, I'll go Online Warriors 3-2 Game 5.
I'm going to go with NaVi, and I'm basing it off of some sort of fact, which is the fact that they beat Blackhand yesterday, and Blackhand obviously managed to beat Online Warriors yesterday. So we'll have to see. Or was it J-Links who beat Online Warriors? Whatever it was. It doesn't matter. NaVi haven't lost yet.
Sounds like it was, it was going to matter.
I feel like
it was definitely going to matter, but now it doesn't.
Hey, bit of a mixed bag up here. Bit of a mixed bag. Okay.
In some sort of way.
In some sort of way. We love to hear it. That's expert analysis right there from the death. We're heading on over to the caster booth to get into this one as well. We've got KotH and Gaskin on the mics. Over to you, fellas.
Cheers a lot, and there was some good analysis from Mark. I know where he was going with that one because you said exactly the same thing.
Well, I actually made it make sense, though, right? That's the issue. And we all knew Mark was going to pick NaVi. He's a big NaVi fan. No Optic in this series, so you're a neutral party for now. But this one, Dan, it's going to be a hell of a show. NaVi, Online Warriors, we've seen these guys compete against each other just about every qualifier. Back and forth these two go. They scrim all the time. And Dan, tell me about how those go.
Yeah, so scrims have gone mainly in favor of Online Warriors. Actually, the most recent scrim was a 9-4 victory for them. And Pro Series has been favoring Online Warriors as well in competitive, but that's sometimes been best of 3s. It's not always been best of 5s. And as Shaady alluded to, when it comes to the series layout, that real outlier is going to be the Recharge King of the Hill, where they have won 4-0 in both Pro Series and in scrims. So I think if you're NaVi, you're looking at that as, okay, probably a loss when it gets to it, so let's focus on our strengths. Bazaar capture the flag, a fantastic game type for NaVi. Oddball Streets, very winnable. Slayer live fire, the last time these two played each other was 50-49. We are going to have such close games between these two teams. And let me tell you, Online Warriors were not happy with the fact they lost yesterday against J-Links. They are here to make a statement today.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, lock the China cabinets. It's bracket play. These series, they matter. These two teams, they got to bring their A games from here on out. No more of the Bush League we've seen in pool play. We know what to expect when these guys get on the map, and as we load into game 1, we're gonna start it off with no one else other than zMightys.
Online Warriors did win this one 2-1 in a scrim just a couple of weeks ago, but it was only separated by a few seconds in every single round. It is going to come down to minor decision-making situations. It is going to come down to one kill, one grenade to make a difference between these two teams if they play similarly to how they play online.
NaVi, get the rockets. Nobody's home, though. Online Warriors, they get 3 dead. They get the ball. Let's see if they can get it to a safe location. I believe that kill from Shaady will do just that. We're going to see the first lead of the series now. Online Warriors, how can they hold a setup here on Streets Oddball?
And we should keep an eye on Shaady throughout this series because I know the leash is off. Speaking of Phlux earlier, he said, I've told Shaady to run at NaVi. Do never let your kind of foot off the pedal, constantly pressure them. We think that NaVi will break if we keep threatening them off spawn. Don't allow them to have that structure. Don't allow them to set up. So I think Shaady is just going to be constantly pushing in, going for those kills, and he's already got 5.
Yeah, love the idea of letting Shaady loose. We know what he's capable of, a superstar here in the EU scene. Already off to a hot start, 6-0-1, like you said, Dan, and it's not going to be just the Shaady show for this one to be a successful one for Online Warriors. The rest of the squad, they got to pick it up. 19 points to their name, but the slay's going in their favor so far.
It's a good start for Online Warriors. They've not been able to get a true setup, but I think the good thing is they've not allowed NaVi to set up either. And as long as you can keep this scrappy enough, you should find success. 1v1s are probably going to favor a lot of these Online Warriors players because that's where they thrive, in those scenarios where they can take those engagements, but that's good back and forth.
The leash, it's off. The Bulldog, it's out. And the Bart gets Shaady a nice double before he gets taken down. The ball still neutralized for now. You're seeing Phlux trying to get it safely into that tram situation. He's going to have a couple of teammates to play around now that they've got it in here, but Jimbo, he's made his way through the front door.
He walks on in, door was left open, and he walks on and gets a double kill as well, but that's good coverage. Actually, I was going to say that, I think that was a team nade that finished off Jimbo, so he might be a little bit frustrated about that one. Snakey now will march on in into the station here, and now this should be a chance for a good amount of time, but the trouble is they're quite staggered, our Online Warriors, right now. There isn't really been an opportunity to set up in either station or tower for either of these teams.
How are they going to play this one? Snakey still able to keep his shields, racking up some time as well. So, NaVi, you want to see them break this setup fast. That's not going to happen this time, Dan. 3 dead for NaVi. Kimbo, last guy alive. He wants to be aggressive, but if he dies and staggers the respawns, NaVi could be looking at a very difficult deficit to try and make up.
Jimbo waits, he sees the spawns, but he walks in and he gets spotted out by Mose. So Online Warriors now have the advantage. 2 are dead. Make it a 2 versus 2, but I think that there should be a cleanup. It's Mose versus Mighty, 1 versus 1, and a Bulldog should win this one. So NaVi do get the successful push, and unfortunately at the end, it was just thwarted away by Mose.
Just not enough. Right now, 51-0 is not looking good for the black and yellow fans out there. You know there's plenty of them. Online Warriors trying to build up a fan base of their own. May just do that here with some successful series with a weekend in front of them. Shaady with 13. Staying alive as well. You just love what you're seeing out of Online Warriors. This ball and tram is so difficult for NaVi to break. And something we saw from NaVi yesterday, Dan, that they're not able to do so far was they were able to break setups. It was holding setups that were the problem. And right now, not able to have the same level of success, at least in breaking the setups, because this round it's almost over.
I mean, they've not even been able to get it set up, let alone hold it at the moment. Online Warriors have been somewhat flawless when it comes to this round, 86-0. Mighty desperately trying to scamper around the map to get any sort of sight lines on some of these players, but look at the challenges. Online Warriors just working so well in tandem at the moment.
The teamwork is there. The positioning was better for Online Warriors. They're competing for these rockets while getting ball time. That's a difficult task to ask of Online Warriors, but they've done such a good job as of yet. But NaVi, they swoop in, they get the rockets somehow, some way. They get a couple of kills potentially in their favor, but Foxy feels the pressure from multiple players bottom middle, and he's going to have to figure out a way to get a few kills, get this ball back into tram if they want to come back in this one.
Still 2 minutes on the clock, so there's still plenty of time to come back, but from what we've seen, it's going to be difficult, but that's what you need from Mighty, right? You need to be getting energy, confidence into your new player, your new boy, the one who often leads the charge in some of these aggressive pushes.
You need him to match almost Shady's presence, and right now, nobody on NaVi matching Shady's presence. 16, 3, and 8 so far here in round 1. And Snakey, that's a big one from him onto Kimbo to try and break the setup of NaVi.
Well, you speak of matching Shaady. Something we heard in the interview was Mighty saying the only 2 people with playstyles like me is me and Shaady. He's comparing himself to this guy, and Shady's been at the top of European Halo for quite some time, so we need to see a similar kind of statistic out of this guy on your screen right now, because Shaady, he's been dominating this game. 16 kills, still time remaining in this round, but NaVi very much behind.
Here we go, though. NaVi find the first 2 picks. Unfortunately, Mighty's goes down. Jimbo knows he needs some ball time. 1 minute and 21, not the most time left in round 1. And if you want to come back, you need a successful setup here and now. Triple from Foxy over. Jimbo steals it, but the damage it's done, the kills, they come through. NaVi, they have a chance.
This is a moment now for NaVi. Online Warriors have been constantly pressuring them, exactly what they set out to do. But if NaVi do get that one set up, if that structure is finally found and they can build that house that they usually build very well, they can get back into this one, but 3 were temporarily dead. Snakey has a big fight, wins the engagement, it's a double kill, and now the clock becomes a factor. Online Warriors can very much just play Slayer from this point.
You got to think, how does NaVi get all 4 dead, and then somehow, some way, 7, 8 seconds later, they're ending up trading lives. Not a lot of time even built up from those 4 dead, and in the meantime, it doesn't look like Online Warriors need that same level of slaying presence in order to get some time. 5 seconds away from ending round 1. Nobody from NaVi to stop it, and that's Shaady putting a punctuation on round 1. He said 17's enough for me this time. We'll see if NaVi can compete this second round.
Online Warriors, NaVi, J-Lings, Blackhand, I think a lot of these guys are very close
Very.
in this tournament. And I tweeted out this morning, I said this is the most difficult it's ever been to predict top 6. And this is why these teams are so tough to try and separate. And it comes down to these little minor decisions. But Online Warriors looked absolutely flawless in that opening round. And I'm sure they'll be delighted.
In the first round, Rockets, they win in the hands of NaVi. Kimbo didn't have success. We'll see what Phlux is able to do at the start of this one with these rocks. Gets the player to no shield, gets 2 more to no shield. He does get an assist, but you think with all that damage, somebody, some way, somewhere is going to capitalize. But no, NaVi doing a phenomenal job to negate those Rockets' impact for now.
Something Phlux said was that the reason why they lost to J-Lings was because they played badly. It wasn't because J-Lings played well. And I know a lot of players would say that anyway, but that said something to me. That said the Online Warriors, they just weren't happy with their performance yesterday. They did look a little bit lackluster in pool play, but now we're in bracket play. This is for all the marbles. This is when it starts to get serious.
And somebody as an individual that I don't think played up to his potential was Snakey. Let's see what he can do here. Good shots. Can he stay alive? It's an important piece of the puzzle. Luckily, this player's not going to challenge him, and because he does all that damage, his teammates able to pick up kills, and because he's alive, now he picks up one on zMightys. If he can find this player back tower, he can rack up some ball time as well. But that player is being such a nuisance is going to have a little bit of help. Too Foxy, no way out. And that ball does get picked up, so good job there by Snakey with 16 to his name, having a much better game 1 of this series than we saw from him yesterday.
An awfully scrappy round, but that's good news for Online Warriors. Look, Phlux, last remaining player, still pressuring NaVi, not allowing them to breathe, instead just making them think a little bit about where they're going to have to push, where they can set up. But now with Phlux going down, NaVi do find themselves in a 4 versus 3. So Online Warriors will have to temporarily delay their push. But Foxy was in a little bit of a sneaky area, but he gets caught out.
Rockets are coming up, and Jimbo needs to make a play. Gets a melee onto the second. But NaVi, they don't have numbers. There's no way they can compete for Rockets unless zMightys is able to create a miracle out of nothing. He gets taken down, and that's going to be Rockets going in Online Warriors' hands. Mose gets a double. 1 rocket on the ground, but more importantly, Phlux with that ball is able to make any kind of deficit that they had in this second round disappear.
Now you know what it feels like when a team names themselves the Online Warriors and how painful it can be sometimes. Hopefully they get picked up by an organization, because I tell you what, they deserve it with how they've been playing, not just in this tournament, but Pro Series as well. You got to remember, this was the kind of team that disbanded Ascend, as it were. It knocked Ascend out of the tournament back in Pro Series. Shaady then left Ascend, joined Online Warriors, and they wanted to create that God Squad. That was the words of Phlux. Are they the God Squad, though? They're going to have to beat teams like NaVi if they want to become that squad, if they want to push themselves into that question for Grand Finals.
1 series at a time, 1 game at a time. Everybody on Online Warriors doing their part so far. A 10-point lead here as NaVi break the setup. They get 3 dead, and this is realistically, Dan, the first setup from NaVi that I feel like we've seen in this game. Let's see how long they can hold it.
Mighty doing God's work at the moment in the middle of the map. Just being a little bit aggressive. Could have been a triple, but just whiffs the beatdown. And NaVi still were able to get the better of those trades, though. Still are scoring. Foxy and the rest of NaVi are still quite high up on this map. Just applying that little bit of extra pressure to Online Warriors here, and this is good. NaVi typically can sometimes turtle up a little bit and play defensive, but they do seem to be playing on the more aggressive side.
It's a game of space, and when grenades are as powerful as they are in Infinite, you need space in order to dodge those grenades, not get tunneled into these funnel situations. NaVi doing a good job so far. They're back in this one. Now they're actually up just about 15 points for now, but that ball, it's been thrown towards the Online Warriors respawners, and Online Warriors will take that. They'll run back to PD with it, and now they have 3 dead of their own.
Online Warriors slightly outslaying NaVi by about 5 to 8 kills as they start to tally up in front of my very eyes. But this scoreline very close in round number 2, 63-64, and now Online Warriors take the lead once more, and they have a setup over towards tower. So NaVi, what can they do to break it? It looks like Pink and kind of this L-bend is where Jimbo wants to push.
Jimbo goes down, 2 down for NaVi as well. In round 1, they struggled to break the setups. Rockets are a good thing to see in Jimbo's hands. Unfortunately, the double, it's only going to be on the back of NaVi, losing 3 once again, and that ball's neutralized. It's in no position for NaVi to capitalize on any of the kills those Rockets brought. Down 10 points, need to clutch up now.
NaVi are a very difficult team to play against. They have that structure, they have that calmness about them. They don't panic in these situations. There's a lot of experience on this roster, and they know full well that even if they do find themselves a significant amount behind, they always have an idea of how they want to get back into that game. So Online Warriors, they need to kill this one off here. Don't allow it to go to a round 3.
Ideas are great, but execution is what I'm looking for. What can NaVi do? Jimbo, he's going to get that ball, but wisely, as he loses a teammate, drops it, tries to sway, the Bulldog in hand. Can he stay alive now? Good help from Kimbo in order to get a little bit of the pressure off of him, and this is actually a phenomenal play from Jimbo. He's got his shield back, tries to push, but it's Shaady with the perfect shots from the Stalker that shut him down, and that was a real shining moment that you thought Jimbo was going to pop off in. But in the meantime, Online Warriors do drop. Foxy does get the ball in, and this could be where NaVi get back into this game 1.
And we are seeing both of these teams prioritizing the Bulldog and the Stalker rifle as they should, but also putting it to good use. And often it does end up being Stalker versus Bulldog at times, just with where they are situated on the map. But this is good positioning from Foxy. Has the ball, has the vision over the map, and allows the rest of the team to get the rockets. But Jimbo sacrifices them, and now Mose has a chance to try and ignite a push here with the rockets.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I hate that play from Jim. Bring the rockets back to me, buddy. Even if you get low on shields, you need to be in a position where I can get him. But Kimbo, he's going to bail Jimbo out. Was a double of his own. Unfortunately, 2 players left to deal with, and Kimbo gets taken down. The ball still neutralized. This is still a winnable round for both teams, but you need to close the door. If you're NaVi, you need to push this to a round 3. They have the advantage as far as positioning goes, but for how long?
Jimbo doing very well to survive, thanks to Mighty watching over him as well, and then Mighty making sure he picks up those splinter nades to do as much damage as possible from a distance, but it's absolute carnage in station at the moment. But somehow, as he has done all tournament long, Mighty's still alive.
So impressed with Mighty's making a play, creating an opening, and I love the objective play we see from him. He prioritizes the objective at all times. Yesterday we saw him running the flag. This is such crucial points he's awarding the NaVi roster, but he feels the pressure from bottom middle. He's forced to try and deal some damage, and Jimbo trying to get to him, trying to help him out, but Mighty's got surrounded in Tram, and now Jimbo kind of looks like out of place.
Wow, and Mighty's decided to drop the ball!
Oh!
And gets the killing spree, double kill. And now he can go back, retrieve that ball. 3 are dead for Online Warriors, 2 still up for NaVi. Make that 1, it's a 1 versus 1 now. And this game's still alive, but Kimbo just about closing out the last kill.
Back and forth, the slays go. The ball's bottom middle, but he's tucked in the corner. Foxy ends the round himself on the back of Mighty's, hitting some incredible shots, winning a 1v2 in that situation, and Foxy's heads up play to pick up that ball. We're now looking at a round 3.
A far better round from Mighty's than the one we saw in round number 1, and it really did help escalate this NaVi squad into a far more structured approach, which they really lacked in round number 1. Great shots from Jim to start off the round.
Here we go, Jim, give me it. Phlux takes it from him, though. Swings momentum back in their favors. I do believe Mighty's is going to end up with those rockets, so I'd favor NaVi for now.
And it must be said, Phlux, 13 kills in the moment, does have 15 assists, but
not good
minus
enough.
14 is not really what you want to see for anyone on your team. Has to pick it up in this round to ensure that Online Warriors don't fall here in game number 1. It's far more consistent on the side of NaVi, it has to be said. Foxy leading the charge, of course, with 30 kills at the moment. He's your leader for NaVi. He's the voice of NaVi. He makes the calls, he decides the plays, and it lives or dies with the in-game leader sometimes. So it's the heavy hat to wear.
Very difficult to do both while playing at the same time, especially at a high level, but Foxy showing you he can do both. Gonna need to do both in order to get NaVi to where they want to go. They had 3 momentarily dead. Stagger the respawns for me. Mighty's, he does just that. Ball's gonna be in PD, and now this is a much different NaVi team these last 2 rounds. They're getting opportunities, getting setups, and they're starting to catch up with the slates.
NaVi have switched on, I think, to how Online Warriors wanted to approach this game. They weren't quite used to the speed of which Online Warriors were coming at them in round number 1, but now they've sussed it out. Now they're waiting for them, are almost laying traps at times, and Online Warriors just need a little bit of a plan B. They need a little bit more method to their madness to ensure that they can still give it a good go in round number 3 here.
Starting to catch up to Shaady is Foxy. What was once Shaady breaking a record for kills is staggered at 35. Foxy at 33. And that's the kind of performance you need. You need somebody to step up. Who's going to step up in round 3, though? 32-0 for now. NaVi have the lead. Online Warriors have good positioning, but with Rockets coming up, that could be where this game 1 is decided.
Shaady slightly overextending, looking to get aggressive and maybe take down someone in the station spawn, but now will leave the rest of the team in a 3 versus 3. And the Sentinel Beam can do a lot of damage here to initiate a fight or just fry someone in the backside. And now Online Warrior is going to have to drop that ball and just take an engagement.
Who picked up those rockets? Was it Mose? Were they on the ground? It looks like NaVi have them. It's a 4-on-1 situation, but with rockets, you have to think you can get a couple. That's exactly what zMightys does. This is going to make the setup of Online Warriors so much weaker. So zMightys makes the play by himself. What can you do with the play that zMightys gives you? 2 Foxy, you can answer it.
Online Warriors will spawn over towards station. NaVi, because they were in PD, they got a more favorable spawn. And it does mean they can break that setup instantly. Online Warriors, unfortunately, not able to get that ball round towards station, so they have to wait, they have to take the fight. And NaVi almost doing to Online Warriors what Online Warriors wanted to do to NaVi. Every single time Online Warriors have that ball, NaVi are absolutely beelining towards them and not allowing them to breathe.
Thrust is so vicious, and Shaady, just as vicious as the equipment itself, is his BR. Able to find that kill on the Kimbo. Does get taken down, but puts 40 on the board before so. The rotation's trying to come through for Online Warriors, but NaVi are here to cut it off, and Mose, he gets taken down. NaVi, you're going to have a numbers advantage with the ball in a solid place to get some slays and potentially extend their lead. It's up to 10.
It was a great push from NaVi. They full committed to P, but Online Warriors were there. The ambush was waiting, and Shaady was the damage dealer. 41 kills now for that man on your screen, and Bulldog in hand, and he is feeling himself, and I'm sure he is more than happy to take any engagement right now.
Look at this. What a heads-up play. What a predictive push NaVi have, and Mose reads them like a book, puts 2 in the dirt, and you can guarantee that Online Warriors are going to build up a little lead with those 2 kills here.
Well, I said I wanted to see a plan B from Online Warriors, and boy, have they started to execute it. They have stayed together a little bit more. They've actually brought Shaady back off onto his leash, as it were. As Mose still alive, still getting doubles. Online Warriors are being an absolute pain in the ass to NaVi at the moment.
You got to deal with Mose, too. He's starting to catch up to Shaady. It's a competition at this point on Online Warriors' side. 37's a lot of kills, even in around 3. Not too much ball time throughout all of these slays, though, so that is the one shining light here for NaVi fans trying to get back into this one. zMightys trying to find an opening, trying to get some damage done, but the timings, they don't match up, and ends up getting a melee. At least he stayed alive that long. It's 2 dead for Online Warriors, so this is not a strong setup. NaVi need to act quick.
It's always a scary time when the ball is here in PD, because
Get a
if
touch.
you go all 4 dead, and that ball is waiting there, you know a lot of time is going to be gathered because it's in such a secluded area. Very difficult to grenade if you spawn over towards station side. And this is a good rotation from Jim.
Yep.
Just recognizing that that is going to be a factor and dealing the damage at the same time.
Great rotation from Jim. Look at the pressure that was coming from the B side of the map. Everybody on Online Warriors PD side, and if you can get a couple of kills here, if you're NaVi, that would be big. The grenades, they come through. Mose gets taken down, and now look at this. It's all because Jim made this possible with the rotation.
I told you it was going to be close. 1 minute and 16 left on the clock. 44 to 44. We're all tied up here in round number 3 of game number 1. And if this is how the rest of the series is going to go, then strap yourselves in because we're going to be here for a long time.
4 dead for Online Warriors. NaVi clutching up when it matters most. They need this win. Building a lead here. And I love Jimbo's presence. He's not going to make the respawners very happy. He's not going to make them comfortable. He's going to apply pressure. Finds 2. He's behind enemy lines. I've seen this movie. It's an overkill. Jim, let him know. Stands up. And as rockets are coming up, Jimbo gets the overkill. He's set up for rockets as well. This is all NaVi.
Perfect execution from NaVi. The team shot was sublime, but it was Jimbo who gets rewarded with the kills, and now they are steamrolling through that ball time. Rockets in hand. It's all looking NaVi right now. Online Warriors crumbling.
Look at that. Jim putting both rockets to use and actually tying Shaady with the kills right now. 44 for Jimbo out of nowhere. The veteran getting it done. 98 points. All you need is 2 for NaVi. Online Warriors, what you thought was going to be game 1 going into your hands, was stripped away, taken away from Jimbo and the rest of the boys in the black and yellow.
Job is not done yet. Online Warriors do have eyes on this ball, but Kimbo gets an opening. It's only 2 players remaining for Online Warriors. They have to defend it with their lives, but here comes the push, here comes the grab.
That's 2 Foxy.
Foxy gets it, and Jimbo stands up and lets them know once more. Foxy's done that time and time
I was
again.
about to say, too Foxy, too much. Too smart. Too many corners to try and deal with for Online Warriors. No sightlines on the ball, and that's just heads-up objective play from a guy that's been playing a lot of objective for a long time.
What a round 3 from NaVi. Jimbo with that overkill and with the decision to just flank those spawners. He knew he was in a spot where he could do a lot of damage, and he probably walks into it thinking, maybe I get 1 or 2. But they lined up perfectly. The team shot was just executed to a way where every bullet that he hit seemed to kill a person, and he ends up with an overkill.
1 was good. Damage onto a second was better, but Jimbo gives NaVi everything they need. 46 to his name, 23 assists to match it. So you have to wonder how much damage he did. It's going to be shown to us now. 12K damage. Shaady doing 12K himself, but for the first round that Shaady had, you have to think how slow was his impact throughout rounds 2 and 3, because he was blowing the competition away with the stats. But that's what's going to happen when that momentum swings, when NaVi start picking it up, because they were heavily outslayed early in that game, but they didn't end that game on that same note. They stepped up when they needed to.
This is why NaVi are such a scary team. You don't really know which NaVi is going to turn up, but also how quickly NaVi will react to other playstyles. They can analyze and change their method very quickly, and a lot of that will be down to the likes of Foxy, who knows how to call the shots. I think they saw that Shaady was being very aggressive. Shaady was constantly pushing them off spawn, and at times NaVi waited for Shaady. They said, look, if we just wait here and we watch X doorway right now, we are definitely going to be able to take him down. And that overkill was everything, and there's Jim letting him know.
Let him know, Jimmy. Go to work. Clock in. Winner's bracket time. Not his first time being there, and now he's got his team up 1-0. They look forward to the rest of this series, but that game 1 told me anything, Dan. This series, it very well could be just like the last one. It can go the distance. These two are so highly competitive with each other, and as we look at the rest of the games and the layout, Live Fire Slayer being up next, tell me about it.
Well, NaVi and Online Warriors played Live Fire Slayer just in Pro Series 7 a couple of weeks ago. It was 50-49, so I think that says it all. We know how close these two are going to be. NaVi did get the better of them, but that doesn't tell the whole story for me, right? In a 50-49, it could have gone either way, so it's hard to say who is the favorite on this occasion. But with how Jimbo's just played at the end of that, and I know how well Jimbo can play on Live Fire, I'm leaning towards the NaVi momentum now.
Yeah.
How do Online Warriors react? Because they are the newer team. They are the newly formed squad. Do they have that calmness to be able to bounce back?
Talk about emotions as they go into game 2. For zMightys to be up there, to see his teammate clutch up, get the overkill. Let me tell you, I had Cloud on my team. He gave me something very similar when we played Triggers Down on our first little run. And man, when I saw Scotty popping off, you know what? It made me play better. So I'm expecting a big game here out of zMightys. His teammates, they're here for him. He's not just going to be the young superstar. This whole NaVi roster wants to make a comeback, wants a redemption story to remember here at the EU Super, but they got to stay focused, stay locked in, and then if you're on the side of Online Warriors, how are you going to rebound after a traumatic loss that you probably thought was yours?
I mean, I've been waiting 5 years for a Jimbo pop-off, so zMightys, he's going to be feeling on top of the world to see it happening, and that shows what zMightys has added to this squad, that extra little bit of fire, that energy, and that's what NaVi needed, and now they need to continue having that energy, having that momentum into this game too.
Good flank from zMightys on the pillars. Allows Jimbo to pick up this heat wave, and NaVi are going to win the break. Love the kill, the teamwork, the running together. NaVi starting to act like a pack of wolves, and as this overshield's coming up, NaVi get the kills in order to potentially secure it.
Foxy's in a position to grab it. That's something NaVi have always done very well, is get those overshields, but he waits, he delays, he doesn't pop it, and Shaady instead gets rewarded with not just the overshield, but the sniper rifle as well. This seems to be a common theme in this tournament, is delaying that overshield pop and losing out because of it.
Shaady in a 1v2, he's got the overshield, he makes it a 2-for-1. Loses the snipe though, and that's a good job by NaVi to get that snipe out of Shady's hands. Somebody you do not want to have that power weapon, but still you got to think that overshield was yours. So a good job by Online Warriors to somehow, some way get that one done, and they've all of a sudden taken the lead.
Sniper now in the hands of Jimbo instead, and he gets the help from Foxy to ensure that he stays alive. And you are completely right. You do not want to allow Shaady to start popping off with the sniper rifle. We've seen it in Pro Series. We've seen it on LAN as well. Keep it out of his hands at all costs.
Jimbo still under heavy fire. Hasn't had a lot of shield to play around the last 30 seconds. Gonna let his teammates push in front of him. That's a beautiful job by NaVi to try and create some space for Jim here. He's gonna try and do some support work with this snipe. Kimbo, he's gonna lead the charge.
Nice movement to move himself over to that overshield as quick as possible. Has to take the fight over on KotH first, and he wins that engagement, and it's perfect positioning from Kimbo. Has the help, of course. And I've got to say that the triple coming into effect is just demonstration of how well NaVi are playing right now.
He wants more. He can't quite take down Shaady, but 3.5 is a good life, I'd say, from Kimbo. Great job leading the charge, and something I recall a little bit of slack being towards Kimbo, a little bit slower of a player, maybe not always leading the charge. So you see a little bit different strategy here out of NaVi, and it ended up as a success. And that's acquired the overshield for NaVi as well. 2Foxy was in a position to get it, and if it's anything like we saw 2Foxy with OS yesterday, it ends up good.
Certainly from watching NaVi's scrims from their POV and hearing the comms, I think that Kimbo's guilty of is maybe not listening at times, but it seems on LAN he's far more focused. He is listening, they're working so well together, and they're all being rewarded for it as well. The team shot incredible at the moment, 24-16, and NaVi are starting to run away with this one.
Shady's the only positive player for this Online Warriors squad. Gonna need some help from the rest of the team to stay in this one. It's starting to get ugly. Not a lot of map control to play around, and Kimbo doesn't even need to shoot his gun. The double melee comes through, and that's gonna be an easy kill. 3 dead for Online Warriors once again, and now all of a sudden NaVi look to break this one wide open.
And when we talk about sniper rifles and we talk about whose hands it should be in, boy, is Kimbo gonna have a field day. Doesn't connect with the first, but at least he stays alive. Good recognition of who's going to be where so that he can stay alive bottom middle.
Oh, it's such a risk to not get your shield back before taking this route. He's surrounded by players, but actually they just cross like ships in the night. It benefits him. He's going to get the information. The back smack comes through. The snipe not needing to be put to use yet. That was tough to say. But a good position here now for NaVi. Overshield coming up, and you see everyone on NaVi this side of the map dealing damage, capitalizing on that damage. 3 dead, make it all 4 for Online Warriors, coming off respawn, and they're gonna have an overshield Kimbo to deal with.
Overshield, overshield, overshield. NaVi have it drilled into them. Is that because of Wonderboy behind them? It's successfully planted into the chest this time. And NaVi with the lead they already hold, and now all the goodies in their bag, Online Warriors are really going to struggle to get back into this.
Nothing pretty, nothing special, just good old-fashioned teamwork, aggressiveness, map control, power weapon control from NaVi so far throughout this game. And they're looking to go up 2-0 in this series, and they may as well just do that if they can get 15 more kills. 35-24 for now.
Kimbo not quite connecting with his sniper rifle shots.
Doesn't need to.
As much as we've seen, but you're completely right. Just the presence of the sniper is keeping Online Warriors in a position where it's allowing the rest of the team to get aggressive and take full advantage of the areas he's creating for them, the gaps he's creating.
Team nade from Kimbo needs to play his life now. This is where Online Warriors hope to swing momentum. 3 dead, make it 4 for NaVi. A good sandwich from Online Warriors. Snakey, he's under a lot of pressure bottom middle, and this is a difficult fight with a lot of chaos going on. If I'm NaVi, I want to slow this one down.
Nice shots from Shaady. Both teams saving their grenades very well. So if you do get chased down one of these tricky avenues, you've got a couple of grenades to throw behind you to keep you alive. A lot of players very guilty of just throwing grenades off spawn. They are so important in Halo Infinite. And at 39-30, this is still achievable for Online Warriors. So NaVi, as you say, do need to be careful here.
Jimbo finds the first. Overshield's coming up. It's been all NaVi and the Overshield story so far here in Game 2. You know how bad Online Warriors need this when it's a win condition. And that's the worst thing you can see for the guys over on the blue side of the stage. They go down, all 4 of them actually. It's a 13-kill game once again.
Online Warriors guilty of chasing a few kills, I think. And NaVi taking advantage of that. I've seen a couple of drop downs from sandbags down to KotH that have just been naded to hell. And they've been punished for it. Sniper rifles up, overshield up as well. Jimbo winning fights. Surely not an overshield going into NaVi's hands again here. Yes, it will be. 47-34 and an overshield. This one looks like it's over.
They can't come off respawn quick enough. They can't get there, and Jim, because he got those shots onto the player towards Brutes, he's got this overshield, and even though Jim doesn't get taken down, doesn't do too much with it, They've done enough throughout this game. It's 48-34, and you can almost guarantee NaVi are going to find a way to find the last one.
Which they do. And Jim letting them know again. Even Wonderboy getting involved. And this is good. This is what I want to see from NaVi, because historically, NaVi have been business. They've been completely focused. They win. They don't celebrate. We're good enough. We should be winning this. It says two things to me. NaVi have got that passion again, but also NaVi are a little bit concerned that Online Warriors maybe could take them down. So you've got to let them know. You've got to be constantly on top of this, because, you know, they've lost to Online Warriors online several times throughout the last few weeks.
Yeah, Dan, this one's personal for NaVi. Mose, the past teammate of theirs, they want to make a good run. The energy that you're talking about, when series are personal, they mean a lot more. It might just be winner's bracket round 1. You might just be advancing in the winner's bracket round 2 if you get a win, but when you're playing against someone you don't like, someone you need to beat, the atmosphere is much different, the energy is much different, and you're seeing that energy from Jimbo in the first 2 wins.
So NaVi seem to have found a spark here after a rough and rocky day 1. A performance against Blackhand that left some people kind of scratching their head a little bit, saying, hey, are we going to see another NaVi flop? It seems like they've picked themselves up, they've had those conversations, and they find themselves 2-0 up in this series after a very dominant Slayer on live fire, which we have to say, I mean, was very well managed when it comes to the overshield control. Even though there was one occasion they didn't pop it, didn't matter, they were still on top of things every single time.
Every single time. They were getting every overshield after the Shaady had, that they negated pretty well. A 2-for-1 trade's not the worst thing in the world, especially when you got that sniper removed from Shady's hands, and ever since then, NaVi dominated the weapon story across the board, the control story, the pace of the game. We talk about NaVi potentially being a more slow, methodical team. Well, that is not the NaVi that I'm seeing while they're having success throughout this series, Dan. They are being much more aggressive than I'm used to. And as we go into a King of the Hill, I know you were worried about them here on Recharge, but with the momentum in their favor, are you thinking something else?
Well, if Online Warriors could have any game type to get back into this series, this would be it. 4-0 in Pro Series, 4-0 in scrims. They've not only won this game type, they have smashed NaVi in this game type. However, being 2-0 down, that can certainly rock your momentum. That can start to make you question yourself in the team. And if NaVi can ride that momentum, this could be a 3-0. And if they can do it on one of Online Warriors' best map, that would be a statement of intent.
On the side of Online Warriors, you got to help Shaady out. He's doing his best, having some great performances. Mose, less chewing, more shooting. We need it from you. Game 3, I'm sorry. What I thought was going to be a very close series. Momentum, it's a hell of a drug. And it's all NaVi's taken so far throughout this series. Can Online Warriors get back on their feet? Can they take the punch, get back up, and get moving? We're launching in here, and this is a good game type, like you said, for them, Dan, but they need more than just a good game type on their favor. They got to start hitting some shots.
Historically, Recharge, a very bad map for NaVi. King of the Hill also hasn't been their cup of tea since it was released, but perhaps they can change their fortunes here in game number 3 to try and take a 3-0 victory, which really would send echoes through this LAN hall. No one been able to get any time on the hill until now. Online Warriors, they're the first to put their toes in.
Camo gets burned. Let's see how this plays out, and you want to be on that C-plat control side of the map, and that's exactly where Online Warriors are starting to spawn up. Good positioning from them early on, but let's see if they can get a few kills. It's their setups that have been kind of slacking ever since that first Oddball round.
You need to not only be thinking about what you're looking at when you're in the hill, but also where you're positioning yourself. You need to make sure you're not too vulnerable to grenades, but also being able to take fights and having escape routes. Perfect from Mighty. Re-engages when the team's there. This is good stuff. He does go down, but he's done a lot there. 3 players from Online Warriors went down because of it.
Yeah, the fact that he doesn't just get forward, right? The fact that he starts getting shot, he might have his reticle in a poor position from a predictability standpoint, but he stays alive. He's a difficult kill, and that's allowed the rest of NaVi to slay out.
Just recognizing that you can slide on out of that hill if you manage to find the little right stairs or angles to do so. As now Foxy trying to get an angle of his own. This time it's to try and take players out of the hill.
Nice attempt with the repulsor to Foxy. Might not be the most vocal, emotional leader, but doing it with the shots to the dead body there. You're seeing it, the emotions from NaVi starting to pour out, not only in the gameplay and the disrespect, and Jimbo with some more attitude, a smile on his face, and a guy in the hill. They're going to award themselves potentially not only this first hill, Dan, but Camo as well, because it just came up.
Well, it was a 4-0 in scrims. It was a 4-0 in Pro Series. It's 1-0 now to NaVi as they finally break that duck when they get to LAN competition. And they've been the biggest advocates of saying, hey, we might be losing these online performances, but when it gets to LAN, we're going to be a different team, and they are proving that right now.
Online Warriors have got to figure out a way to score this second point. You don't want to go down 0-2, especially with all the momentum that NaVi have built up throughout this series. And zMightys, he's in a perfect position to make that a reality. He's got Camo, he's got Shock, and we know what this young man can do.
He says he loves the Shock rifle. He can just zip around and take those shots. You can see his sense high enough where he can just constantly fly around the map. He's still alive, and that is going to be so difficult for Online Warriors to work through now because they know any corner they walk around, there could be a Shock rifle waiting to pummel them in the face.
Can he hit the shot? He does hit the shot, the killing spree as well. And zMightys, he's got a second player in pipes to deal with. I love how he's going to relocate, right? He's out of dodge. Mo's not going to expect him to be here. Great damage on the Mose, can't quite finish him. And because you missed the headshot, you pay for it with your life. This is Online Warriors' opportunity, but guess what, Dan? They have to seize it now because they're down 2-0. That long haul hill was a full setup from NaVi the entire time.
Online Warriors look a bit dejected. They look like they may have given up on this one already, but they can't allow that to happen. They can't allow those emotions to take over them. Instead, get a setup here at Elevator, but Snakey, the last alive, as NaVi break the setup once more, and it seems like NaVi Nation is here to play in Valencia.
Yeah, this is the NaVi you need to see if you want to win this tournament. A completely different team than we saw yesterday, and although they didn't even lose yesterday, it just didn't really give me hope for their opportunity against some of the better teams. Well, look at this. This is Online Warriors we're talking about. A top 5 seed of the tournament, and they're making them look like amateurs.
Snakey not really sure where and how to push. And he's eliminated as soon as he steps foot near that hill, and we are starting to lean towards 3-0. And what we thought would have been Online Warriors' lifeline here in this series seems to be dwindling away from them very quickly.
How close this third point is for NaVi. If you're Online Warriors, you gotta sniff Jim out, but Jim, he's done a good job to find the entry pick. He's got a teammate with him, multiple teammates with him, and Online Warriors are starting to fall. Phlux goes down, all 4 dead, and it's a perfect break once again for the NaVi roster.
3-0, and NaVi are doing exactly what Online Warriors had done to them in online competition. This is a complete turnaround. NaVi have been working on their King of the Hill behind the scenes, and that is fantastic news for their hopes to even think about winning this tournament. Jim with a double. Jim's been smiling, he's been teabagging, he's feeling the heat right now as NaVi look to close this one out 4-0.
And look at Jim's awareness there to immediately transfer his reticle from the player's long haul to the player back blue. Gets great damage onto that third. All 4 dead for Online Warriors in that moment. And now they have to act quickly because winners bracket lifelines are on the line. You got to play just about perfect from here on out. And NaVi, with how well they're set up, it's going to be so difficult to break this setup.
2 are dead from NaVi, but the same for Online Warriors. And there's still time being gathered by NaVi, and Jim's there waiting with the repulsor to send any of Online Warriors' chances off the map, and they're still scoring.
Jimbo. The teamwork is so evident. The Slay's so dominant in NaVi's favor. Everybody's on point, and NaVi do it and with ease there in game 3. The momentum was everything they needed, and they're gonna take this one 3-0. Online Warriors left shaking their head, wondering where did it all go? Dan, not the series we expected. I expected a highly contested series, and ever since game 1, NaVi were able to find something we haven't seen from them in a long time.
I think that Online Warriors, even they are surprised with the NaVi that we've just seen. Perhaps NaVi been keeping a few things up their sleeve. Perhaps practice has gone on behind the scenes to make sure that some of their weaker game types now may be some of their stronger game types, and that will strike fear into their enemies' eyes. NaVi now have their sights set on the likes of Quadrant, the likes of Ascend. NaVi want to win this tournament. They don't want to settle for second best. And what a moment it is for that man, not Wonderboy, zMightys. His first time competing in an environment like this, He's got so much pressure on him, and boy, has he performed.
And it was that moment that I spoke about when Jimbo gets that overkill. Everybody on the team knows what Jimbo just did. Everybody knows Jimbo is putting the world on notice. We are back. And that just gives you so much life. Everyone feeds off that energy. Everyone feeds off that one play. Sometimes you just need somebody to make a play. Step up, give me something, Scotty, is what I used to say. Jimbo does it for NaVi here, and I mean, you could see how it just transitions to game 2, to game 3, and now we're looking at a completely different tournament with this NaVi roster playing the way they are.
And everybody in the lobby knows it as well, because Jim didn't even have to stand up. The game literally tells you Jim's got an overkill, and that is going to be so deflating for the Online Warriors. And after winning 4-0, 4-0 in scrims and in competitive tournaments online, NaVi managed to flip the script and win a 4-0 their own. 3.8k damage for Foxy to close things out. I am astonished with the performance we've just seen from NaVi. I think that they have blown everyone out of the water. They have surprised us all, and I'm sure they've surprised everyone on their desk as well. Let's see what Lottie and the guys have to think about that one.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Oh my goodness me. What an exceptional, exceptional play we just saw from NaVi, just across the board of that series. I mean, just 3 insane games from them. But there's one guy that I have to highlight right off the bat, and that is Jimbo. My goodness, he is just insane, and really things started kicking off for this guy on Oddball Streets, where he got his overkill, and on set, we got to see this as a replay, because my God, this was clean.
It was as clean as you could wish for. It was the perfect play and the perfect execution, and the biggest takeaway from it for me was Jimbo's reaction. I've known Jim for a number of years. I have never seen that man as animated as I've seen him on that main stage during that series. And I think that he wanted that more than anyone, that win. I think he was disappointed with his performance yesterday. I know he had a controller problem. He's got a new controller today, and the new controller looks pretty good because he ain't missing too many shots at the moment. But when you've got a player like Jim who thrives on confidence, making plays like this, NaVi are going to be very, very difficult to stop.
They certainly are, and I think it was the most animated we've seen actually for the entire series from Jimbo. He was reacting to almost every single game, at the end of it, standing up after every single map of the series. And you're rightful, you know, in that he wants that so badly. He wants that win. That's huge. And it made a huge, huge difference to the team and the way that they were playing there. I've got to ask you about the rest of NaVi, though, Brock, because, my goodness, the Live Fire Slayer was crispy. They were looking fantastic right from the get-go, getting the power-up so many times, and just being able to run the distance with it. So what did you make of NaVi's gameplay overall this series?
I think they look so great, and I think as the weekend goes, they're getting better and better. I think they realized from Friday that Game 5 50-48s are not going to cut it. I think they don't want to let series get that close, and I think this also is great evidence of that they are really bringing the pressure, and they are making sure that they continue to gain momentum, to continue to grow as a team over the course of this weekend. And I think each series we've seen them, they look better and better.
What a statement of intent this is for NaVi. Friday, they looked off it has to be said. They weren't playing their best Halo, and all of a sudden this completely changes the complexion of the tournament. Now they're in the championship conversation. Now it looks as though they can take on the likes of Quadrant and Ascend. This is a very scary NaVi.
This is a very scary NaVi, and I think if it was anybody else up there, Online Warriors, you could maybe question things and kind of, I think, put a question mark against some questions. But, you know, Online Warriors are a fantastic team. They're filled with very, very skilled individuals, and the fact that they have just managed to 3-0 them in that fashion speaks volumes for this NaVi roster. But somebody else who can speak volumes for this team is Jimbo himself. It is so good to have you joining us right now.
Hi guys, how's it going?
It is so nice to have you joining us. I'm very excited about that win we just saw across our screens here and in the arena. I've got to ask you though, dude, you were really animated back there. We talked about it, you know, you're popping off, you're getting very, very excited. How much did that win mean to you?
It means a lot. I think I've spoken to all of you. My confidence has been pretty low lately, just playing in general. So I've just tried to come into this like a fresh thing and be different, and I think it benefits our team a lot more. You know, I think positivity is something that's kind of been not really there for our team, so I feel like that is something that we needed, and I felt like I needed to step up in that department, and obviously it helped out myself as well as the team, which is great.